All right. Welcome. My name is Greg Fries. I am the host, the podcast owner, the greatest. Oh, sorry. Got a little carried away. And this is my buddy here, and he's going to be on the show today. Can you give your first name? You don't got to give your last.
Kristen, and I won't give my last,
I mean, they could just look
just
me
in
up and
case.
probably find out who you are. Um,
Pretty quick.
um, but yeah, so today we're going to be talking about a couple topics. um, Things are going to probably make him uncomfortable, and well, that's okay to be honest, because that's what it's all about. Sorry, dude. So yeah, sorry, I was watching something. Forget that about Caleb Hammer. So yeah, before we get really started in the background here, you guys can see my whole background, what I do watch. Um, have you been keeping up with the Minnesota thing?
Kinda, a little bit.
About
What is it? Child care fraud, right?
it's a lot more than that, but pretty close. There's just a lot of fraud going on in Minnesota right now. The biggest player is childcare, where Somalians. It's very highly of the Somalian group there. Will go to open a daycare, say they got this many kids, don't have that many kids at all. They have zero, and then they'll go and basically just have a money front basically. So they take all the money the government gives them, they don't use it on nothing but themselves because they don't have nobody to care for.
Well, scam's a scam, right? I guess there's no way around it. Um, I think there needs to be more. I'm not going to say checks, because how do you look in or investigate into something like that? Like if
I
all your
mean,
documentation proves that you're following certain guidelines, no one's really going to look into it in a sense.
I
Um,
get that, but I mean, what's his name? He just was the one who did it, bro. He made a 45-minute video. He took a day of his life, went out to a bunch of daycares that should have been prime time for kids being there. And there was no kids at none of them. So I mean, I get it. Yeah, they follow the checks and balances at first, but maybe there should be more regulations. Like, okay, if we're gonna give this person $2.5 million to take care of 99 children for the whole year, maybe, just maybe, somebody should go and be like, okay, so I see the establishment's up and running. I'm glad our money went somewheres and not just in your pocket. I mean, I feel like there should be a little bit more steps into it because I mean, it goes to show even here. I mean, government's giving away $2.5 million just to one place, just to one place. So I mean, that's a lot of money just to be like, well, you know, I can turn a blind eye. And then you got to think about how many other places are doing it. They're talking about over $100 million at least already in complete this fraudulent activity. So I mean, there has to be a way to look into it. I mean, just simple like check-ins here and there. I feel like that would be an easy way to do it, just to make sure you
yeah, but
know.
you also have to employ someone to do those checks, which I guess you have to have a certain set of qualifications in order to do something like that. Um, and who would hire these people to investigate? Does that go through local, state, government? Like, what's the job title? What's the description? How much are these people
Well, I
getting
mean, it's
paid?
kind of just like
You
this.
know?
I mean, you don't really have to hire anybody new. You could use the CPS area. The people that don't have active cases going on, you can put them onto checking daycares out in the area because they are child protective services, and go ahead and make them just do rounds. It's not like they got to do whole investigations. It's like, hey, while you're doing this little area of you looking into this family, well, there's a couple daycares in your area. Maybe throughout the week to stop by and see if they're actually taking care of kids.
What city specifically was this? Is this a couple of cities? Is this one city particular
This is
that
one
this is
city
happening?
alone in Minnesota. There's many
And
more.
this is a couple of daycares, not just one singular daycare.
It's not a couple of daycares. It's a lot of daycares. That's why there's a
Okay.
new meme going around saying you just opened up your first daycare in Minneapolis and they're driving around in Bugattis and shit. So I mean,
When you're getting free money from the government, I guess, hey, that shit comes easy, you know? I don't know. I mean, we live in can we say this?
yeah,
Can we
yeah,
say this?
no. They
All
look,
right.
they already know. I live in Utica, New York. If you hate
All
me,
right.
fuck you.
So we live in New York. I mean, we're not old enough to the point to be able to say, like, we've been around to see a couple of governors in and out of office. We've only seen two, you know, Cuomo and then now Hochul. Um, but we got a little bit of an idea how things are kind of ran in the state political scene. Um,
Oh, you mean
and
like
also being in New
Cuomo
York,
kind of
like,
just putting a bunch of old people in a health center to die from disease? Oh, yeah, okay.
a
Keep
lot
on
of
going.
things. There's a plethora of things I won't even get into, but I think I think the I think not only the problem lies in just the state government and it being their fault. I think it also is a problem with the local government too, because there's checks and balances. If there's a fraudulent daycare in the area, it's usually up to that city's city hall
Yeah.
and the department that handles child whatever you want, whatever title you want to put on it, to be able to handle a situation like this. Now, the way I'm thinking about this is this could be purely over. Well, you said this is state funds or federal funds, right?
Yeah, this is federal funds that the states
Okay,
get
federal funds
allocated from them. So like,
that the
so
states get,
yeah,
and the local government would have to ask the state government to allocate these funds to said city.
yeah, because this is how this
So
all
then these
started.
businesses
Because
could benefit off those funds.
yeah,
So I think it would be both the state and the locals' problem that this was able to go on for so long. Why no one investigated it, I have no idea.
well, look, here we
But
go. We got Tim Walz
But
defending it.
first, federal agents on the ground in Minnesota, the government says
I think if the people that live in that area or state, what
There,
happened?
there,
Oh, I was gonna say,
there,
I think the
there you
people
go.
that live in this area and that state should be smart enough to vote someone else in different to represent them, because obviously this particular person isn't doing his job properly. And look, I'll keep going after this. I'll keep going
Okay.
after this.
Yeah. And this is his response, Tim Walz. Okay. The governor has worked for years to crack down on fraud and asked the state legislature for more authority to take aggressive action. He has strengthened oversights, including launching investigations into these specific facilities, one of which was already closed. But here's the kicker: the one that was already closed was still making money from the government even after it was closed. So he didn't stop funding them. He said, okay, we closed it, but we're going to still fund it. Okay. So
on fraud and has asked the state legislature for more authority to take aggressive action. He's strengthened oversight, including specific investigations into the facilities, one of which was already closed, that we saw in that social media video. So, look, Chris, the fraud allegations are obviously not brand new. News Nation's been covering them for some time. But this new social media video focusing on these childcare centers have really, I think, shed a bigger light on them. So you have J.D. Vance commenting. You've got FBI Director Kash Patel reacting to that. And the allegations is that these childcare centers, some of them are receiving upwards of $1 million each in taxpayer money, and there's no evidence they're actually kids there. And so now we're seeing real action.
So yeah, so now we're talking about real action. So I guess I already did close one of them from the video, but
I just
there
thought
was
about something.
there was a point where Tim Waltz, I'll try to find it here in a few minutes while you were talking. Tim Waltz went and defended the fraudulent activity, saying you are doing nothing but hurting the Minnesota people and hurting their livelihood by closing these down and taking action into it.
Listen, I totally disagree with him. Everything, listen, I've worked for City Hall for a brief period of time, but that allowed me to understand how budgets work, especially with local budgets. Okay. Their allocation of funds only gets set at a certain amount. That's all they're allowed to spend. All right. After the fact, they have to come crawling to either the state or federal government for extra funding to spend on whatever else they want to spend it on. So this is only hurting the people that live in that area because this is part of the budget in said area. Whatever city, if this is statewide, whatever, that extra $110 million might be coming from the federal government, but that's for the state or local governments to decide whatever they want to spend that on, right? That's partly paid by the American taxpayer. Not I'm not going to I don't know how much of that $110 million taxpayers paid into. I don't know where the money came from, so I can't really say anything about that, but it's still $110 million of possibly wholly taxpayer money that they just gave away. And they could have used that for something else, like
Fixing up
potentially
apartments.
opening up food kitchens to help the homelessness, or putting it back into social programs to help the people that live in the state, or I'm not familiar with Minnesota's state laws. I'm not too entirely sure if they have unemployment benefits, but if they do, um, this money could have went into that fund to help people who are unemployed. This could have went to programs like WIC
Snap.
or SNAP. You know what I mean? Um, People that are impoverished or are struggling.
Or even taking that money, fixing up the
And
roads, housing, parks.
how many people live in Minnesota? I gotta look this up. All right, so compared to New York, not a lot. AI overview on Google saying 5.8 to 5.84 million. Compared to us, not a crazy amount, but still sizable,
But
I don't know. Like, I feel like $110 million for 5.8 million people could have went somewhat far. I gotta look this up too. In New York, all right. New York State as a whole is 19.87 million. And, in terms of we also have different tax codes and shit. New York's the second highest tax state in the entire country. So most of that money is probably being reallocated back to the people, help us out in certain ways. We got better employment benefits, whatever. Minnesota, with 5.8 million people, I don't know how things work there. I don't know their tax rate. I don't know if I'm gonna have to look it all up, to make sure I'm right. income tax with rates that vary from 5.35 to 9.85 and a sales tax rate of 6.875. So less than us, less people, less tax. Makes sense. Obviously different tax brackets, they're taxed at different rates. Also makes sense.
And the crazy thing here is they're getting in an uproar right now because Trump is putting a hold on the child care like help aid from going there just because, well, we don't know which ones are real in Minnesota and which ones aren't. And
Like I said in the beginning, this is a checks and balances problem. Someone somewhere in whatever city, multiple cities, is not doing their job properly to make sure these funds are being allocated properly. Um, and whoever that person may be needs to be let go and replaced because, in the grand scheme of things, $110 million across the whole country is
no.
not a
They're
crazy amount of money, but for that
they're
population
talking
amount,
about they're talking about for the whole state only
yeah,
110 million in that city. They're talking about for the whole state.
yeah.
It looks about almost about $1 billion.
Oh,
That's
$1
just
billion for 5.8 million people could go a long way in a lot of other programs. That's all I'm saying.
a lot.
A lot for 5.8 million people. I mean, the money, the amount of money that we're talking about somewhere like here, you know, all I'm saying is you might get a $200 stimulus check. That's all I'm saying. That's about it.
It seems about right.
Checks out. Here's $200. Do whatever you want with it.
But I don't know, man. There comes to a point of like, see, I'm gonna say there also has to be a point in time, right? Because this took place during a lot of these were opened up during the Obama and Kamala time. And it's because so many Somalian refugees came in. Okay. And I'm not just gonna say it's them because it's probably all different kind of fucking immigrants who are coming in that weren't supposed to come in. They get in here somehow they're doing this fucking thing,
Well,
and it's kind of that point where like it's
part
just
of this is part of this is a cause due to border policy.
yeah.
I'm not entirely agreeing with how current border policy is. There are some good points about it, but if if you let people in undocumented and illegally, this is the type of shit that happens, all right? You have people, and people will be people, no matter which race you are, no matter which religion you follow, all right? People will be people at the end of the day. It's just human nature. You will always have those bad apples that make it bad for everyone else, you know? You have these types of individuals that want to do nothing but to take advantage of other people, and this is one of the results of it, you know? Um, and whatever they may say on the news is demonizing one demographic of people, but I don't think that wholly represents that demographic of people. There are some good Somalians out there. A
Of
few who I've
course.
met, you know,
Of course.
beautiful people. But these individuals, unfortunately are allowed to get away with it in some form or way. You think these people are going to be brought into the court of law? Probably not, you know? Especially if they're not legal Americans, they can't be tried in a legal court of law, you know? They might be expedited through Interpol and thrown back into their country of origin. But in
That's
terms
it.
of the money, it's not coming back.
Gone.
It's gone. You
Because you want
know?
to know what they probably did with it? Sent it back home.
Exactly. And the conversion rate is probably 4 to 5 times what it is. You know, they're flipping it immediately.
They're making bread. Bread. They're about to go home and be
They
the
probably
richest
got
motherfuckers there.
they probably got some crazy ass 20,000 square foot mansion, 3 Ferraris, you know?
My Bugatti.
But can you blame them? You know, like when you have a when you have a country as naive, and I'm not saying this is currently, but when you had, all right, let's change that. When you had a country as naive as it was before this presidency, and I'm not like standing up for everything, but when you just allow everyone to come in as much as they please, what do you think's going to happen? Things just go fucking buck wild. You know, like people are going to, oh, all right, cool. If I don't have to go through the 10-year immigration process, I could just go there and I could just sell shit on the street and scam people. And all right, well, if they're allowing me to apply for this program online and I don't actually have to prove that this thing is going on, I'll just get the funds anyways. None's the wiser, right? But like this gives a bad name for the people that actually want to do it the right way, the legal way, that want to pay to get past those hurdles, you know, to get that funding. Because now that there's a stop put on it, because they want to investigate that this stuff is actually what it is, now it's affecting everyone else. That's like, you know what? I did everything I was supposed to do and I'm still getting screwed. So, like, it, there's a lot to talk about here. And I don't think politics in a whole necessarily is where it should be at. Federal, state, local. That's just my opinion. I think we have a lot of representatives across the board that are not doing what they are supposed to be doing. You know?
No, no, because the thing is now politics isn't about checks and balances. It's not about making a country run right. It's about mostly living in a this unfortunate reality that a lot of people play into, and they use that as a key to really push that agenda so they can do whatever the fuck they want. And I'm sorry, I don't know if you know who Ilhan Omar is, but she's also a representative from Minnesota, a very big one. She's a very big politician, and she is very well known for being part of the Somalian refugee, like the refugee. She does a lot of charity, I'll give her that. But she doesn't really play into politics that much. She plays into hating Trump, basically saying that she wants more Muslim activity, she wants more Muslim freedom, which that isn't terrible, but
Look,
we shouldn't shove it down our throats.
what
Um,
what I will say to that, I'll cut you off. All right.
yeah, I knew it
I'm
was
gonna
gonna.
cut you off.
I already knew I
I'm
was
gonna
gonna.
cut you off. Listen, when you get a visa to work in a foreign country, there are certain guidelines you have to follow, and it depends on the country. But Japan being a prime example, they are usually looking for you to benefit their society in some way or form, and their guidelines are extremely strict.
Yep, you have to
Okay?
become part of their culture. You have to endorse it
Exactly.
all. You have to have
And
no felonies, no
if
misdemeanors.
if you go over there trying to change any of their cultural ways, they will not hesitate to expedite you through Interpol at the snap of a finger and
Yep.
throw you back into your country of origin.
Yep.
All right? When you come over here into America, we are a God-fearing nation who believe in a subset of values, okay? You should not be coming over here to change our way of life and what our beliefs are, because we would not do the same to you. We wouldn't go over to your country of origin and expect you to speak our language, even though English is the most common language around the whole globe, whatever. But it's not the expectation that you should know that said language, because we know we are in a foreign environment. You are going to speak a different language than we do. I mean, at least that's the way I think. It might not be the case for everyone else. You also have your own different cultural values. I am not, me personally, the type of person that's going to migrate to a different country and expect you to change your way of life and what your beliefs are based on what I know, because I have no right. Like, I haven't lived the way you've lived throughout your life. So I don't know what's common to you. I only know what's common to me, you know? But I'm not going to force that upon you because, like I said, I have no right. I haven't lived what you lived. It should be the same for us, like, we live in Western culture. We know how it is, you know? And you should not be coming over here to change the way we view things, what we believe in. Like, this country is one of the oldest, I'm not going to say throughout human history, but one of the oldest, and there's a reason for that. We have strong beliefs, we're God fearing. Whether you believe in a different God than we do, it's up to you. It's your opinion. But we have values, and the right to free choice is one of them, you know? And if I can respect you as an individual and I could say, you know what? You have your own subset of values. I can respect that. I expect the same thing in return. That's all. Like, we don't have to fight about it. That's the whole point of being an American, is to believe in whatever you want to believe in. That's your right. And you can't be oppressed for that. But for you as a certain individual or a group of people to come to me as an American that was born and raised here and say, you know what? I'm wrong for what I believe in, even though I was born and raised here, and you migrated over here, that infuriates me in a little, and it not a little ways, a lot of ways. Because it's like, dude, you're missing the point. You can believe in whatever you want to believe in, but we don't have to hate each other because of it. That's the beauty of being an American. And I just don't understand why a lot of people can't, like, understand that. I really don't. Everyone just wants to be in up in arms over everything nowadays, and it doesn't have to be like that. That's the beauty of the First Amendment too. Like, I get, you're free to say or whatever you want, but you're not free of the consequences. I get that, a lot of people will say that, but I truly believe in the Constitution. I believe in the amendments. You know, everyone's free to choose and free to believe in whatever the hell they want to. You know, that's what you sign up for, being an American. That's all I got to say about that.
So to piggyback off that, I'll give a good example. Me myself, I'm a Christian. My buddy Omir, or Omer, however you want to pronounce it, the American way, or just, you know, uh, his culture way. So me and him have completely different religions. He's Islamic, but he's not sitting here trying to shove it down my throat. He respects that I have my religion, and I respect he has his. And we can sit there and actually have talks about what like our religions and our differences and debate about it. But at the end of the day, we don't hate each other. because we know each other as people. We like each other as people. Obviously, you're gonna have differences with people no matter what. But just like you said, that's the great thing about being American. He's not going around trying to shove his culture down my throat. You know, he's not like saying like, "Oh, you Americans live the wrong way," or anything like that, right? Because it is very true. It's very true that a lot of the Middle East hates Western culture. They think a lot of
Yeah.
us are devils incarnate, basically, bro. They think we're the most evil thing in the world. Now, are they wrong? I'm not gonna say no,
Well,
but we are who we are, and the reason, just like you said, we lasted so long as a country is because our amendments, our constitution, we built this country off to be able to be whoever you want to be, as long as you are a good person in the end. You
yeah.
want to be able to respect each other, and that's like you just said, like you don't want to oppress people or nothing like that. But there's no reason you should be able to come over to our country and try to force
I
your views down our throats when it's a
and
completely different world here.
yeah, and I think if and I've met a few people, right? A couple who I've worked with who went through the immigration process illegally, and they've explained to me how long that process is. You know, if you want to do it the right way, the right way, the bureaucratic way, it does take a long time. So I'm under the understanding of why people do it illegally. You know, they want to expedite that process. They want to make it faster. They want to come into this country and work for whatever reason they want to. You know, like if they have a family to support, they can't get a job in their country of origin. They want to come over here to make money. Sure, whatever. Understand that. You know, but under the ruse of coming here and trying to create chaos and havoc to destabilize, like those are the type of people that we need to get rid of. And
Yeah.
and I don't mean to get, not in a bad way, but like if your main intention is to come here and just destabilize your environment that you're in, like why are you here? You're supposed to come here to try and like change your life, to chase something bigger than yourself, to make your life better, and that's what most people that come over here legally want to do. They're in third world countries. They're trying to escape wartime. They're trying to provide a better environment for the family back in the country that they used to live in, and they migrated over here to get a job and send money back home, whatever, you know those are the people that I've met, I've talked to, and like they've told me, like I said, I don't know if I said already, it takes like 10 years to do the documentation, the whole immigration process, all that stuff to get a green card, you know. Um
It took my buddy Omir about 7 years to get his citizenship.
Around the same time, you know. I understand, like I said, I understand why people do it illegally.
But
It's
see,
it's
but
situation to
see,
situation, but
and
like I
this is
said
where I'll
too.
go against that. Is like you can say that, but you look at other countries and you want to become a citizen there, they are so much more strict. Like no matter what, if you look at our foreign policies and our border policies compared to other countries, ours are nearly the most lenient in the whole entire world.
And
We let anybody who
there's
wants to really come in, if they want to do it the right way, we let them come in.
there's there's a lot of factors to the reason why that is. We've talked about this the other day. All right. I've worked a ton of jobs. Okay. I've seen enough to understand how some of these corporations that reside here in America are very successful. And most of them are very successful off the backs of immigrants, because a lot of these immigrants, documented or undocumented, whatever it may be, right, have come from a place of origin where their currency isn't as good as ours. The buying power is less in their country of origin. So let's say they have a family that lives in their country of origin and they get the opportunity to come here and get a job. Well, their buying power increased by 2, 3, 4, 5 times, whatever. Depends on where they came from. So then they can send that money back home. And now their family is benefiting from that, you know? But a lot of these corporations will take advantage of these people because whereas some of these people might work for $12, $13 an hour, let's say in our area, that's just not cutting it. That's well below the cost of living. You cannot make, all right, you can make ends meet, but no plus sum. You're not making anything extra to save for the future. You're just barely afloat, right?
I don't even think that, brother. I really don't.
But whereas us, we are pampered and sheltered in a way where we know our worth because of what we know. A lot of these companies don't care. They only want to pay you the bottom dollar because they care about profits. And they will undercut us to give a job to someone who is either documented or undocumented because in the end of the story, they know they can save money, which helps out the bottom dollar for them in terms of profit. And like I said, there's multiple factors in a lot of these things. I think this is a top to bottom issue in a lot of areas in terms of immigration. And it all needs to be addressed. All of it.
Yeah, I mean, the first step. See, you're gonna be gentle and say you don't agree with it, but let me not be too ruthless here. I agree with all of it. Get them the fuck out. People want to bitch and cry about the economy and all this and that. Well, guess what also goes around with it? Undocumented people also getting our currency, going to places that it's not supposed to, not actually helping the American people. And guess what that does for us? That also hurts us. So overall, I mean, if there was illegal immigrants, and we could talk about the unemployment thing because this kind of goes hand in hand, right? There's about 4.1% unemployment rating right now, and I'm not going to get too personal, but you already know the circumstances. If we really look at it, what also goes against that unemployment rate? Undocumented people getting jobs. Let's talk about the superintendent right over in fucking what was it, Texas? No, it was
Look it up.
in Illinois, Chicago, Illinois. There was a superintendent who was an illegal immigrant somehow as a superintendent. Or let's talk about the cop.
Pull that up. Pull that up. Pull that up. I'm about to go to the bathroom. Pull that up. I want you to pull that up.
This? Oh no, I think I was right. I think this happened in Texas. Hold on. What state was this in? State was this in? It has to be in Texas. Iowa. Okay, sorry. I knew it started with an I. Okay. And then I'm also gonna do this one. So let's talk about this. Ian Roberts, the former superintendent here. I'll zoom in nice and big for you, so everybody at home can see it, so you can see. So there's multiple articles that go along with this, even HomelandSecurity.gov. He was a superintendent in Des Moines Public Schools in Iowa. I knew it started with an I, thought it was Illinois. My bad. He was in Iowa.
All right, that's why I told you to look it up. So you
This
got your
happened.
facts straight.
This was in September 2025, and he was a superintendent that was a legal immigrant. A superintendent. That is a huge position.
All right, he entered the U.S. on a visitor visa.
Yeah, in 1999, which expired in 2004, did not leave the country. So he just stayed. He didn't care. He just stayed.
Scroll down.
So legal alien, which
Like I
with the
said,
firearm-
this all results from people not doing their job properly. And I'm also under the understanding that, you know, like this is one guy in a country with 333 million people in terms of census population. So how could they know? You know, like they caught on, but they said, what was it?
over
2
2
decades
decades.
it expired. 2004 it expired. Yeah, so they're 2 decades late. You know, that this is all an issue of people not doing their job properly, you know, and has he done anything wrong? That's another thing to ask. You know, like right here, criminal charges and credentials. All right.
Has convictions of possession
Okay,
of a loaded
possession
fire.
of a loaded firearm and reckless driving. Get him out. Cuff him up. Bring him back. That's all I'm going to say. Doesn't belong here. You know, like, and this is not just in his case, you know, like, if we've done the same things he's done, we would be in prison right now. You
Yep.
know, so, like, why is it any different? Because he's an immigrant? No. Like, the law
So
is the
look,
law. I'm sorry. You got to follow it. If you do stupid shit, you win stupid prizes.
so
That's
look.
how it works.
This is one thing I will say, right? And this is where I want to say keep the strict border control, right? Border policy is good. I like it, right? But there are certain cases like this. Say if he didn't get hit with that possession of a legal firearm and reckless driving, and he was just a good Samaritan the whole time he was working here,
Fine.
I feel
Fine.
like he should be the first one to get the chances of becoming a citizen because he's already showed
Yep.
for the 20 years that he's already been giving back to the country, right? I feel like in
Yep.
those cases, I changed my view a little bit just because they have a life here. They've been showing. And now I feel that's very different for somebody who's been here for 2 years that hasn't really made a life here, that's only been here for 2 years. I would say get them back out. But the people who made a life here for 20 years and they only show that they've done good things and want to help the community, fine, keep them. Because guess what? They're showing that they want to better. They want to be a better life. They want to come here to make better choices. So I would say that. But obviously, it's a little different for him because he had a loaded firearm, it was illegal, and he had a knife, and it was reckless driving. Ah, get him out. And he's a superintendent. Why is he carrying a legal firearm?
Look, I've been told if you're going to do something illegal, don't get caught. He got caught.
Yeah.
You know, like, if it's something the police can document, that's held against you. You know, like,
Because now look, any type of maybe say like let's say he got caught up and it wasn't just because of that fact, right? But now because
well,
it's that
he's not.
fact,
He's not a
he's
U.S.
he's not gonna
not
be
a
able to
U.S.
come back.
citizen. He's not a U.S. citizen, so he doesn't fall under federal U.S. law
Yep.
or state U.S. law or local U.S. law. He's not a citizen, so you can't try him under U.S. law, you know, and he doesn't get the same privileges that an American would because he's not a legal citizen. It's just how it works. You can't carry an unloaded illegal firearm as an undocumented immigrant. It just doesn't work. You don't fall under the U.S. Constitution because those are rights and privileges reserved for people who are American citizens. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
If he was an American citizen, this would be a different story, but it's not. It is what it is, you know?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, I hate the people who say this, bro. Well, they deserve to be in America. Like, why deport them? It's not a. It's not a. It's not a right to be in America. It's not a right. It's an opportunity, right?
More so a privilege.
Yeah,
It's a
right.
privilege.
It's not. It's not a right to be here. They don't deserve to be here. You don't deserve to be here unless you show that you deserve to be a citizen. Then guess what? Then you deserve to be here.
And there's a lot of people I've met in the past few years who've migrated over here the right way. I've asked them why they want to come to America, why they want to come to the West. They've always said that, you know, there's an opportunity to do whatever you want here, to make money, to provide yourself and your family a better life, you know. And I feel like us as Americans, we lose sight of that too. Like we're so we're so privileged in a way that we don't see how good it actually is because we go outside, you know, there's not military militia groups rolling around in the streets ripping families out of their homes, you know. There's not constant bombs going off, bomb sirens. We have the opportunity to education, um, to go to work without anything happening in between. We can go in any store and buy whatever we want within reason, you know, obviously. Um, and we lose sight of how good it gets, you
You
know,
mean I can't go to
compared to some of
Walmart
these
and
people.
buy an RPG?
Well, that and you can't jihad jeep in the streets either. So you can't just be blowing up any building you so choose. You know, like
Oh, you see that mountain over there?
it's RPG it.
Yeah,
Nah.
yeah. But no, I mean, look, bro. I mean, it's just like people think it's a right to be here, and then you got the Democrats who let them play into that idea, and they really are like, you know what? If my government says it's true, then it has to be true. People deserve to be here. It's not that at all, bro. Like, and this is the one thing I told my fiance because we talked about it a lot. Because before she was with legal immigration, she was like, if they want to come in here, why not let them be in here? And I was like, bro, we got to care about our own
If
people before the fact, because if we don't, we let a surplus of people in, we won't have enough to even take care of the surplus of people, and not even the people that need it
I
that are us.
my personal opinion is there should be more money if we spent less on national defense, not too much, you know, not too much to make a difference on paper and in execution. I think if we allocated some of that money to hire more people to do vetting, that would allow the process of immigration to be expedited exponentially. I think that would solve the immigration problem as a whole and also please people across the board. But the problem solely relies on budget. The federal government is more so naive and arrogant that they don't allow themselves to go through with certain ideas that could change the game. But like I said, if the U.S. government hired more officials to properly document and vet some of these people coming through the borders, I think it's a win-win situation. It's a win for the people that are getting hired to do the job, and it's a win for the people that are coming through the border that want to become a legal U.S. citizen. But that's just not the case. And I don't know when that would be the case. I don't think open borders work at all across the globe. And there's prime examples as to why it doesn't work. You could do some quick, simple searches on Google and find out why open borders don't work. I don't even have to explain it. But how strict we're being on it, I also don't think works at all either. There's got to be a happy medium here. But honestly,
Yo,
there-
kind of the
the
comment on
Republicans-
that. Did you see? I thought
What?
this was a little crazy. How Trump said, if you are morbidly obese, you can't get a citizenship here.
We're already all obese as it is, so
But-
why does it matter?
Because he sees enough
Like-
lazy people, so he doesn't want to be here.
Listen,
But see,
I've
and
met
this is
some
the
overweight
thing, bro.
I was gonna say I met some overweight people that can move faster than me. That's all I'm saying. So
Yeah, you're trying to get home to get a burger. But
yo,
but overall, see, and this is where I kind of get mixed feelings about it because we talk about them wanting to do more strict rules based on like immigration and everything, and I agree with a lot of it. I feel like you should only come here if you learn how to speak the language, that you know what our amendments are, you know what the Constitution means. You should be able to, because look, bro, you got a bunch of
well,
migrants
listen, most
coming
of these,
here, and none
most
of them
this
know how to speak
education-
English, right?
Most of this education is not available in the country of origin most of these people are coming from.
Yes,
so
but
they
see, the
have to
thing
learn
is-
it after the fact. However, I will say to that is like you should have the willingness to learn our language, if anything.
Yeah, because there's
you know,
migrants
I
who
think-
come here and go their whole life just speaking their natural born country like language, and they never learn English. They don't learn a lick of English because guess what? Their kids get born, their kids learn it, and they only know their home language, so they don't gotta learn it because their kids just always translate for them. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. We should not allow somebody in here who doesn't want to be American. They just want to come here for the opportunity, and that's it. I feel.
I think part of the legal process is you're supposed to be able to speak English, well, speak, read, and write English fluently, so you can be a proper U.S. citizen. But most of these particular people we are talking about are not here legally documented. So
I know a bunch that are legally documented that don't know a lick of. Bro,
I said most.
do you know how many Asian refugees are in Utica? And none of them
yeah.
know English like that?
Oh yeah, I mean they know a few sentences. But that's
Yeah,
probably
a
about
few
it.
sentences doesn't make up anything. Right? I mean, I could say El Baño
Listen,
like
the
yo
way I
soy
look
mucho
at it-
Greg
Listen,
or mucho
could say
grande
yes by giving-
tetas, like you know what I'm saying?
you could say yes and no by giving me a nod up or sideways.
Okay. But how is
If I'm
that
asking
valid?
Yes or no
But how is that valid if they don't even know what you're saying? It's always going to be no.
if they're documented properly, I can't say anything. They're here legally, so I'm just gonna have to roll.
But
with it,
see,
you
but
know?
that's
like,
my thing is saying you say that overall you don't agree with how strict it is. I think in some places it should be stricter. Because then you have these same people coming from their country that will go up and throw up their flag instead of the American flag, right? It's different when a Puerto Rican goes and puts up their flag because the Puerto Rican flag is the United States flag. Instead of 50 stars, it's 1 star for Puerto Rico.
Well,
It's different. They are from us. They're a part of us. They're just not a state. There's a big difference, right?
it's nationally recognized.
Yeah,
as a,
like
you know,
so you have like let's say the Mexicans down in Texas that come in illegally. They'll be repping their flag, banging their music, no matter what.
My belief is don't do that. Like, don't
But
do that.
but see,
Listen,
that's the
for,
thing
for,
though.
For every one of those motherfuckers, you got 10 Americans strapped to the teeth with as many firearms as you could fucking imagine to kick your ass out. Like,
It's just like one thing is like, bro, if you're gonna come here with wanting to be. I'm not gonna say to be exactly like us, but want to be an American, support the American flag, support the Constitution, and learn fucking English so you can comprehend and make a better place for yourself here. I don't think that's very hard to ask.
You have to conform to our ideas
Yes.
and culture. Yes.
Because if you come, let's say, from Venezuela, where it's a fucking shit show of a communist country, a socialist country that has no fucking money to itself, and you come here thinking like, you know what would be great for America? It's socialism. How good did that work in your home country? Why would it be better for bigger state countries? It just makes no sense. You should come here wanting to see, like, bro, you have illegal immigrants and regular migrants that come here that think capitalism is so evil, but yet they love that they can make the opportunity, the money from it, but then they want to take that away?
Capitalism is not evil if executed properly. However, what I will add to that is capitalism has made a name for itself and always has been viewed that way since forever before us, is because you have people exploiting the system, and the way capitalism used to be ran used to be proper and fair. We're talking probably 1905.
But can you
1910.
even say it was fair then? Because monopolies were still a thing, right? I mean,
Yes and no. There were still some laws put in place to eliminate monopolies, but I think there's a lot of things going on today, more so, that allow more leniency in towards the term of monopoly just not being a monopoly.
you mean like Disney?
And Marvel.
No. You can't say Marvel. No. Because Marvel is now Disney.
But proprietary property, you could technically say that's monopolizing.
Yes. So
whatever way you look at it.
So, but Disney bought Marvel. Marvel might be Marvel, but Disney now owns Marvel, right? So Disney, in my mind, is definitely a monopoly throughout the country, right? Yeah. They own Marvel. They own. I want to see how much they own, bro. How many? Because they own Fox now too, right? They own Hulu.
They also own Star Wars, don't they?
Yep, they own that.
Yeah, that's monopolizing, but like a lot of this shit.
Over 200 companies and brands. They own Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilms, 20th Century Studios, networks like ABC, ESPN, FX, National Geographic, Disney Plus, and Hulu, along with theme parks, cruise lines, and various other entertainment and media properties. And this isn't the only one like this, because now you look at Netflix, right? Netflix is making big moves into buying big movie production companies to force them to come onto the Netflix app. So it's not like it's only Disney, and like we could, and see, I think where they get away with it is because look at what Ford was doing. Like they were literally buying out companies and making them Ford companies. The reason why Disney's getting away from it is because they'll buy them out, keep the name, so it's not under that same branch as them. Well, we need to have a
This
way
is
where
all
this stops, so not everything keeps getting into a greedy organization way, right?
like,
So
well, that's like this is all a problem top to bottom. You know, like I referenced the early 1900s. All right. We didn't have these things to worry about. We had steel, oil, and
cars.
whatever company, you know, like we were just,
Yep.
we were becoming an industrialized nation, whatever. So we were worrying about the simple shit, you know, but that stuff does play a big role in terms of monopolization and capitalism and all that. This is a little different, you know, we're more in the modern age, more digital. These things are proprietary property. You can't use this character. You can't use that character. This is a lot different, but same. Um, I think the reason why a lot of people view the Western culture and capitalism as evil is because of the shit we put in our films, our shows, our music. We glamorize murder. We glamorize sex.
So does the UK. Keep going.
Exactly. You know, uh,
But they are
progression
part of the
comes with
West.
its
But
downfalls.
they are part of
Yes,
our society, right? The Western
yes.
society, like UK
They
is.
whatever we do, they follow suit, but far behind. They still
Yeah,
follow suit, or maybe vice versa. Whatever it is, a little different, but same.
just like Canada, they're like 20 years behind us. Yep.
But
Yeah.
you know, I get in a way as to why some of these particular countries would demonize our way of life and go to the extreme because of it. Um, but what we believe in, I think taking another person's life over a disagreement is well over the extreme. Because, like I said earlier, if I can respect your values and what you believe in, I think it should be the same reversed, you know? Um, but rewinding a little bit, if you live in a certain country that shuts you out and propagates and indoctrinates children at a young age.
Can you keep your thought right there? I gotta pee. Give me a second. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm back. So keep going with your thought there.
I was saying,
Why you can see they thought it was so evil, but you don't agree with the
well, I
right
mean,
taking.
if you are a particular small country and you take the right and ability away from young individuals to be able to learn about certain things about other countries and shared values, principles, ethics, and only teach them a subset of education, those people grow up to be extreme and only believe in certain things because that's all they know. Whereas certain people have a crave to learn more, and aren't easily swayed, if that makes sense. But majority of people um, only believe what they're told. And I think that speaks for a vast majority of a lot of people that believe in what they believe in, to be easily indoctrinated. And I think it really it outweighs the people that have the self-awareness to be able to explore into the deep end, to learn more, to want to be more.
That's the big problem with
But
today. I mean, you look at a lot of the left, some of the right. They don't look into anything that they are preaching. They don't look into anything that they are actually wanting to know. They just hear headlines and then they believe it no matter what. I mean, you look at you look at how brainwashed they really are on like the Epstein files and everything like that. They have two quotes that came out of the 13,000 pages that they released last Monday, and it says, what was it? That Trump can't say that, griped a woman. The woman, and this was overheard from a limousine driver, that Trump and Epstein raped a woman. He then told the police. The police said you did a good job by reporting it, and then 2 weeks later she was found dead in a hotel room, ruled suicide. There's no facts backing this, anything like that, at all. And then you have another memo that comes out that Jeffrey Epstein said he mailed it to another inmate in a different prison while he was in prison, supposedly, saying that Trump is just like us. He loves the young kudos or something like that, right? Basically saying that he likes young children just like us. But the FBI and the Department of Justice both said and came out exactly to that message, saying this has been proven false. They've released all files no matter what, even if it was just call-ins and tips, we have to put them out into the files. If you also read in the files, you will see that this was proven wrong. There was no proof of it coming from the prison. It came from an address in Illinois while Jeffrey Epstein was being held in New York. There was no prison number or anything like that, or no inmate number put on the message, which you have to put when you're sending mail out for the prison to look at it. So when the other prison got it, it was flagged and put into the files because there's no proof of this coming from Jeffrey Epstein at all. There, nothing pointed to this being real. The handwriting was different. It wasn't Jeffrey Epstein's handwriting at all. And everybody just wants to go off, well, because it's in there, it has to be true. But even the Department of Justice and the FBI both said, just because it's in there doesn't mean it's true. We have to put everything from the case, no matter what, inside the files because it's evidence of some sort. So even if the evidence was proven to be a dead end, they still have to put it in there. And everybody just is so crazed into believing whatever is put out. They go and don't do no research on the actual point. They don't want to do anything. They just want to believe what they're being told, and that's it. And it gets to the point where you got that with let's talk about any hot topic of the day. I mean, nobody really looks into it. Oh, Trump is a uh, he's a rapist, and he has a felony for it. That's actually not true. Never true. The only felonies he have is from peddling during his campaign run when he was trying to get reelected. And that was 35 felony accounts that should have been misdemeanors, but the judge that went after him upped the actual charge on that. So it's like people don't look into the facts of anything. They just hear what the media says, just kind of like you said earlier. You'll have this crazy headline, and then when you read the article, it actually doesn't even say that at all.
It's dramatized
Yeah.
to make it seem more worse than it actually is. It's just clickbait.
Well, it's
you know,
fear
like-
mongering too. It's fear mongering. It's to cause division. It's not, and this is what media does. Media believes that the people nowadays are so stupid, and this goes for the right too, that people are so stupid that they won't even take the time to look into anything themselves.
I'm about to send you something quick.
It's
If I
like
can
I can
find
put
it.
on the big screen.
Yeah.
Our next topic after this next thing, we're gonna go to the next topic because we got two more. So.
Got it. Let me copy this address. Put that up. At first, before you believe anything that's put out there on the news, you need to look at who owns these companies and determine whether or not they are in the right or they are in the wrong. This video will prove
Our greatest
that
responsibility is to serve our
due
Treasure
to the
Valley
fact
communities.
that
The El
whoever
Paso,
owns
Las
these
Cruces
companies
communities,
is
Eastern
asking
Iowa
them
communities,
to run this
Mid-Michigan
same
communities.
story
We are extremely
across the country.
proud of the quality,
believe
balanced journalism that CBS
whatever
4
you were
News
told
produces.
online.
But
In terms of
Plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
False news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica
interesting, isn't it?
Headley.
And I'm
Now,
Ryan Wolf.
you should be asking yourself who owns these particular companies, because they're the ones that are behind it. Stop believing what you are being told on the TV. It's not true. It's a story that's ran.
Well, I mean,
That's all I got to say about that.
I hate to quote him here, but it's one of those things of like, I really hate to quote him here. It's just like Trump said. There's no real journalism left. There's no real journalism.
There's not.
It's
Journalism used to be about digging up the truth, standing up for what's right. Now it's just about how many views you can get for the revenue you can produce. That's all it's about. Lying to the American people and abroad to make them believe something they shouldn't believe because it's not true. It's not true. It's just to fearmonger, to get you riled up, to get you believing in something, you know? But what I'll say to that is you should be able to determine what's right versus what's wrong and follow your heart. That's all.
I definitely agree. I think we're gonna wrap it on that session. For that topic, we're gonna go on to the next one. You know what's going on in Nigeria?
I don't really watch news anymore because of what I just showed you.
Okay,
I don't really
so
care for it.
I'll do
So
I'll do this just to catch you up to speed. Big thing that's going on right now. About 62,000 Christians have been killed in the beginning of 2009. This is taking place in Nigeria. It's been kind of an ongoing thing. They're getting killed because of their faith. If they're not getting killed because of their faith, they're getting basically converted by assault, aggression, and even sometimes for the women, they get sexually assaulted. I'll leave it as that. I won't say the word. It's been a big
So
thing
this
that's
is
happening.
so this is basically the Bosnia War all over again in a different
Yeah,
country.
yeah. So
This is
this
just
is
about differences in beliefs.
yep. So basically, and it's the same one. It's Islam versus Christian, and Trump.
Your God's not my God type of
Yep.
shit. Yeah.
And so we have Trump. He goes and okay, he starts bombing them. So it's basically help and prevent. They got a missile. Basically, it's just he's hitting camps that are known for the ISIS link because it's ISIS once again. At least here it is. They're going around basically doing this, and he's kind of stepping in. And once again, we have a lot of people that are kind of saying that he shouldn't be doing this because it's wrong. It's not something we should be doing. Uh, the left is very against it, kind of just like the cartel thing
Look,
with the boats. Um, I think it should be something because I mean, if we look at it, I don't want to be that guy, but you look at Syria, they used to be all Christian. You look at Egypt, they used to be Christian. You look at Bosnia, they used to be Christian. And people always want to say, well, the Crusades happened and that was because the Christians, that wasn't a true thing. The Crusades happened because Islam was trying to take over by force in a lot of countries, in which they did win, and then finally the crusade happened, and that's when we started fighting again. That's when we started fighting back, and then it all kind of ended because the crusades is over. But I mean, there's to a point where I feel like the way religion should be spread is by peace and wanting to have people switch to your faith by choice, right? It should not be something where you push and kill over. Um, but that's just me because I mean I don't see my buddy murdering me because I'm who I am, and I'm not gonna go murdering him because who he is, right? It's just not how it should be. You should be able to have your own different faith. It shouldn't be pushed onto people like that, and it's just something where people are kind of like saying basically, Trump is Islamic phobic, right? Um, it's kind of one of those
it's
agendas again being pushed, basically saying well is only doing this because it's Islamic or Muslim or because it's about Muslims. But I mean,
well,
62,000 people in one country, and it's a small country, being killed because they
one
believe in Christianity is kind of crazy.
well, this was. I'm not going to say any more. It might be, but was in part generally an all Christian nation with traditional values. After World War II, before then, like I've said before, we're a God fearing nation. We stand up for what's right. And killing Christians who believe in nothing but good faith and loving thy neighbor and thy enemy because you want to oppress them with your worldly views is downright wrong. Like if I went into the street and had a conversation with someone and disagreed with every single worldview that came out of their mouth and then ended up killing them, what do you think would happen to me? I'd be in prison for the rest of my life. So you know what? I don't necessarily disagree with what he's doing. And on top of that, you know what? These Navy guys that are on that destroyer, they've been waiting to do something. You're giving them something to do. You know what I mean? Like,
And
whatever.
you know
Got
if
to
they
put the
get to
tax dollars to use somehow, right? Got to put the defense budget to use somehow, right? That's all I'm saying. Don't fucking kill someone that believes in the same shit we do, and nothing will happen to you. Don't fucking behead people, and not even just men. Don't behead women and children in the middle of the street and parade them for everyone to see, and nothing will happen to you. I'm sorry, wrong is wrong, right is right. Don't do stupid shit, and maybe we wouldn't do shit to you. That's all I got to say
Yeah.
to it. You know, like you can't parade a fucking 6-year-old child that has no head in the street
What's that?
and just
What's that saying? Do do stupid things, get stupid rewards, or some shit like that.
do stupid things, win stupid prizes.
Yeah,
That's how it
there you
goes.
go. Yep, there you go. I mean, it's just simple, dude. I mean, the same thing with the cartel boats. I already told you statistics about that. I won't go into that. It's just that goes
And that's
along
the
the
whole
same lines as like saying like people just don't do the research into like what's actually happening. I mean, it's just one of those things of where like they're like, okay, well, you know, it's all dandy and
and
fine,
you know
but
what? A lot of people like to demonize what we do in terms of world order.
Mhm.
Where is every other country stepping in to change the dynamic of whatever situation that is happening in these countries? Because I don't see China stepping in and saying, you know what, I think this is wrong. Let me fucking fix this. I don't see Russia stepping in and be like, you know, that's a little fucked up. You know, let me fix that. You know, I think in part to the responsibility that we have due to our mass military might is being the big stick around the world and be like, yo, don't fucking do that. You know what I mean? Don't that's kind of fucked up. You know, and we could be more reserved, save money, spend less on defense budget, but how and I'm not saying the US is completely right in what they do and have been doing over the past 100 years, whatever. There are a couple things we get right, there's a couple things we get wrong. In this case, I think this is one of the things that we are doing right. You know, like we're trying to protect people. That's all the bottom line is. You know, like we're trying to send a message. Like keep doing it. We might fuck around and find out, man. That's all it comes down to. Like, you know, these people believe in the same things we do. You know, like I don't think they're doing anything bad. And then you got these people come in and be like, shit, you don't believe in the same thing I do, so you gotta go, bro. Like, gotta put you in a casket. Sorry.
it's either you convert or you
That
die.
that's just not. And you know, like these people are Christians, so like they don't believe in violence. So what are they gonna do? They're not gonna fight back. You know, like they're just gonna take it and accept it. You know, so like, what's wrong? You know, like, and I'm very like I'm starting to be more religious, and I'm very Old Testament, you know, like a lot of people are on the flip side. They're very New Testament, you know, where God's very forgiving and loving and accepting. I'm very Old Testament, you know, like if God ever comes back, which I hope he does, Judgment Day, whatever, it's very brimstone and fire. Like the world will be consumed again You know, everyone that's bad will go. You know, and it, in this case, like it's very brimstone and fire. You know, we're just trying to eliminate the evil. You know, and in that case, are we wrong? You know, I don't think so.
One of those things, and this I knew this was going to be a little bit shorter of a topic, just because I mean, it's just one of those things of like, I just don't see how people can really see this as an uproar or as an upset. I mean, we're trying to stop, because I'll bring up the statistics. So this has been since 2009, so it's been about how many years? About 16 years. So 16 years, there's more deaths of the Christians in this one country than there was in our 25-year fought war in Vietnam. You
How
know,
long has this been going on?
since 2009. 2009. Yep.
Vietnam's 25 years.
This is 16, so by it gets there, it's gonna be over the top of it. Easy.
Yeah, fuck them, dude. Fuck them. Like, let's take all the good guys, bring them back here, make them legal fucking citizens, and just wipe out all the evil. That's what I believe in. Like, sure, whatever. Like, you know, taking human life's never okay, but in 100 years, who's gonna fucking remember anyways? Like, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little passionate here, but I'm sorry. I'm very black and white. Like, evil's evil, good is good. You know, if you got these people that are trying to preach good, and you got these other people who are on the other side, be like, what you believe in is not okay. That's evil, but they're actually evil. Who's the evil one in that situation? Like, you could try fighting tooth and nail to convert these people to believe in what you believe in, but it's just not going to work. So what do you do at that point? What do you throw them in a fucking 10 by 10 and hope that they change their mind, or just snip them out? I mean, like I said, murder's not okay, but what do you do? You're like, you got our arms tied behind our back at this point. You know, we're trying to protect good people. That's all it comes down to, you know?
Right, buddy. So this is the final topic. I know this is one that's gonna get you a little bit here. So, the first day of Hanukkah in Australia, on a beach, on Bondi Beach, there was a mass shooting, killing 11 Jews. It was because they were Jewish. It was done by, well, you already know who it was done by. Come on. It was done by an Islamic person with all the tension going on over, you know, in Israel and yeah. So
We support Australia. They're right behind us. It's a little bit Western influenced, a little understandable. You know, play the video.
11 people are dead after a shooting during a Jewish holiday celebration at Sydney's Bondi Beach.
Yeah, it's for the first night of Hanukkah. Police are investigating the mass shooting as a terrorist attack. KTLA's Aaron Myers is live in Pico Robertson with more about what we know about this terror investigation and how it's reverberating here at home. And Aaron, I know at this hour we have a lot of new reaction locally.
Hi, you two. Good morning. Well, we know that Jewish organizations are being told to take precautions at locations and at events, and I'll have more on that in just a moment. But as you said, Australian officials, they are considering this a terrorist attack, and we do have video we can show you. This is when shots rang out, and I want to warn you that it may be disturbing. You can hear multiple gunshots at Bondi Beach. It's believed more than 1,000 people were at this event, which was celebrating the first night of Hanukkah, when 2 gunmen opened fire on the crowd, sending people running. The organizers of the event called it a perfect family event to celebrate light, warmth, and community. A night meant to be filled with live entertainment, music, games, and activities for all ages. A witness saying at least 1 child was among the injured.
I seen like a kid, like she was like maybe 8 years old. She got injured on the leg, and she was crying, and she was on the ground.
And this video graphic as well. Authorities say that these are possibly the 2 gunmen. You can hear them shooting. Now, we are told one of the gunmen was shot and killed by police, the other arrested and is said to be in critical condition. Along with the 11 victims that were killed, another 29 people were injured, including 2 police officers. Officials have declared this a terrorist attack due to the type of event that was targeted and the weapons used. The state's premier saying this attack was designed to target Sydney's Jewish community. A number of suspicious items were located in the area, including an improvised explosive device found in one of the suspects' cars. CNN says officials are still seeing if there are any other suspects involved. Now, a local rabbi in Sydney spoke out about anti-Semitism in Australia and abroad.
There has been a terrible amount of anti-Semitism in the world right now, and we felt a lot of that here too. And unfortunately, when we allow things like that to go unchecked, these are the things that inevitably do happen.
The Secure Community Network is urging Jewish organizations to take.
So, what do you think? Thoughts?
I think he's right. Like, you leave it unchecked, these are the type of things that happen. I mean, in order to read the Quran and believe in Islam, I'm not going to say just the Quran itself, because, you know, a lot of people do say that the Quran is originally the main belief. But a lot of the people that do follow it are extreme. Whereas we have Catholicism, Christianity, slightly different, but the same. You know, it's not as extreme. It's more down to earth. I think this is, I'm going to talk about a lot here. Like, I understand why we left the Middle East, but in the same token, I don't understand either, because for one, we didn't completely fog out the extremism of ISIS and Islam as a whole. So leaving preemptively allows it to regrow, and not only regrow and grow larger than it originally was. So now they're getting into more international aspects of their beliefs, which is not only affecting like Australia in the video, but will affect us again at some point in the near future.
It already is.
It is. But now we don't have a handle or a foothold on the problem as we used to. We completely left. We just left everything behind.
Before you go any further, I do want to state this. There's nothing wrong with people wanting to believe in the Quran.
Oh, no. Like I said earlier, you're allowed to believe in whatever you want to believe in.
It's the extremists that take it to the point where they want to convert with the sword.
Your wife,
you know what I'm saying?
Marrying children, fucking
Sharia law,
circumcising a child in front of a whole fucking church of people, and there's a whole I gotta look this up. I gotta look this up.
Because
I'm gonna
look,
this up
the
so I don't
way
get this
my
wrong.
buddy does it, and the way most of his family and his friends, like, celebrate it and stuff, they're not trying to be violent. They're just following their religion. You know what I'm saying? They're not out here hating us or anything like that. Like, they're here to be like an American, but they also want to still follow their religion. There's nothing wrong with that, right? It's the extremists. I mean, you do see there is extremists like cults for like Christianity and stuff like that. But it comes to the point of like it just comes to that point of where what religion has more extremes? In my opinion, is going to be Islam has more. Because I mean, how many people do you see driving around with AK-47s through towns, basically preaching their religion, and if you don't accept it, they're gonna try to convert you by force or kill you, right? I mean, you don't see that very often, at least not in America. Maybe somewhere else, but I've never heard of it. You do see like those crazy like cults that have like people of 40. There was that big FBI case in like what was it, the 80s, where the guy had a whole big house filled, and then it was like a 2-day standoff, and then he finally killed everybody in the building. They made them all like blow up or some shit. Like that is like our extremists mostly, right? But it's just one of those things where like there's there's nothing wrong with wanting to follow your religion, but once you start harming others, that's where it becomes the problem, right? So, um, it's just go
I'm
ahead.
listening to what you're saying.
No. You can go ahead because I know you have something you want to say.
All right. Where? All right. Where in our religion do we have anything that's where we would like read it and we're like, oh, what the fuck? Like that's crazy. Like whoa. You know what I mean? There's probably a few parts where we're like, whoa.
Yeah, like where
That's a
Moses
little
lived to
harsh.
like 178 years old. I don't believe
Yeah,
that. You know what
but
I'm
that's
saying?
like,
Yeah.
it's like the guy didn't fucking,
Or how
didn't like beat,
common.
yeah, he didn't fucking blow 10 people up in the middle of a fucking town circle to prove a point. You know what I mean? Like, all right, so like, not directing this towards this specific religion, but this, they also believe in Islam as well, which they also read the Quran. So I'm just going to correlate this. The Jewish community, nothing against them. Don't care. Whatever. They're their own people. Respect them. However, they believe in one thing based on what they believe in terms of Islam, which is, now this is going to be a little hard to digest, but, and I might fucking butcher this. Metziza Bapa, right?
Hold on.
Is a third
Hold on. You trying
is
to
a
tell
third
me
stage of
Judai?
traditional Jewish circumcision, although nowadays is performed by only a few religiously orthodox mathos. In this stage, the mathos sucks on the bleeding penis of the infant with his mouth. This is claimed to reduce bleeding, though the origin and initial significance of this practice is unclear. Now, you would say, oh, let's say killing these Islams is just crazy, is just downright wrong. When you have things like this in a belief system, do you necessarily agree with it? Because I fucking don't. Like, that's just weird and unorthodox.
Say that one more time. Sorry, I was just trying to look up something.
Here. Look that up.
Is a traditional and controversial Jewish ritual during a baby boy circumcision where the circumciser uses their mouth to suction blood from the wound, removing it from the glands. Many modern Jewish authorities recommend using a sterile tube to prevent direct oral contact, a practice endorsed by.
So you see something like this and you're disgusted by it,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, because I am, you know? So, like, what do we. This is predominantly a Jewish belief. I can't really say too much about them. I'm under perjury here. I don't agree with their beliefs. Majority of them also coexist with Muslims, which also believe in along the lines of the same things. I don't agree with any of it. I really don't.
So I'll say, hold on, before you go on your here, I'm gonna correct you here. Okay. I'm gonna get off this because there's some weird stuff to show. Okay, so there's a big difference between Judaism,
There is.
Islam, and Christian. Okay, so Christianity comes from Judaism. Okay, it comes from Jews. We follow different rules, but the one big difference between Islam and Judaism is I didn't know this was the same. I knew it was the difference between Christianity and Islam was that we follow Jesus as our last true disciple. In Islam, they
Whereas
follow
Islam,
Muhammad.
they don't recognize Jesus as the last prophet.
Yeah, they recognize Muhammad.
Muhammad.
Yep.
Whereas Christianity, like you said,
And Judaism does too. Judaism
Yep.
sees him as the last prophet too.
Yep. This is the disparity here, right? And I don't know about you, but I read the story about Jesus and I can't do nothing but fucking cry. Like, we have someone who wants to help, right? Help the common sick, the weak, the hungry, and basically gets prosecuted for being a good person. And, you know, he could come back and say, you know, you people deserve nothing. You know, all you are the same, whatever. Instead, he accepts his fate and dies for all of our worldly sins, you know, and forgives us because we don't know what we're doing. We don't understand what we're doing and suffers because of the love that he has to give. And you see a God like that, and it's like, how how can you look at someone like that and just hate, you know? Whereas you're comparing this to their religions where they recognize Muhammad as their last prophet and how extreme their religions are, and it's like this is not same here. The, like, I would prefer Christianity over Islam any day. You know, like, this is more of a loving God, a God of suffering, a God who died for our sins, for all the negatives that we've done in our lives, you know, who can accept us in open arms, no matter how much wrong we do, as long as we can recognize at the end of it all that we've done wrong and we want forgiveness. And he accepts us in open arms, you know, and like, this is the disparity here. Like, I just don't care for Islam. I really don't. It's an extreme religion. It needs to go. It needs to be wiped clean. I'm sorry. That's the way I believe. And a lot of people disagree with me, but it you can't be fucking killing people. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You could disagree with someone else, but you can't take their life because of it. Life is beauty.
Okay,
Life
no,
is freedom.
I'll
know?
say this. I definitely agree. Partially, I believe that overall we should see a big mass of the extremists go. But like I'll say it, like my buddy Omir, Sam, um, they're all like Muslims. They're like the nicest people I've ever met. Like they're very kind. They don't want to do no harm.
Exception to the
Yeah,
exception to the
yeah.
rule.
But that's what I'm saying. Like those are the ones that come to America, want a better life. They respect our views and they don't want to change our views, but they want to still love
Yeah.
their views.
Backtracking, like I said, you have to be able to have the self-awareness enough to be able to pick apart whatever you believe in, or else you are indoctrinated to believe in whatever you are being told.
Yeah.
Which is, if someone didn't have the self-awareness or the higher intelligence to be able to read some of this stuff, they would just believe whatever they're reading. However, like Omer, he's a good person. I've met him. I've talked to him. He is. Like he has the intelligence and self-awareness enough to be able to be like, you know what, that's a little, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? But not everyone thinks that way.
Yeah.
Like, and unfortunately, it makes everyone more, I'm not gonna say everyone, it makes majority of people more malleable to believe a certain thing, a certain narrative, and that's the problem. Um, and like I said, Islam needs to go. I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. I changed my opinion. I don't think that needs to go. I think the people that believe in an extreme need to go.
Yeah, because I mean most definitely, and you can see it a lot over there. And I'm gonna look this up because he said it's not nearly as much, but um, let's see. So radical Islam.
You call them radical Islam, yeah. I was about to say that.
That doesn't really say, but not entire nations. But we do see a lot of countries that do follow Sharia law. They follow, having many wives, having many lovers. Um, but it's been several extremist groups have been active several countries, often driven by local conflicts and grievances. And we do see that, like how in Iraq we had the Taliban, but then you had my buddy Omir that was literally sitting there playing soccer with the U.S. soldiers. So there are those constant fights, especially in those countries, and that's even where you can see it. Like they're saying, even in like Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iraq, Syria, you see these places that have the kind of like they they bump heads a lot because you have the very strong radicals that want it to be exactly the way it's said in the book, but then you have the ones that want to just be, I'm not going to say like Christians or Judaism because they still want to believe in their own, but they don't want to go to that point where they're going to be basically hurting another human soul like that for no reason, right? Because like even I will say this, I'm a Christian. I wear it on my chest. Okay.
Well, I'm baptized Catholic, so I can't say the same. A lot of Christians look at me like I'm the black sheep of the religion. So, but I do go to Christian church from time to time. I really don't mind it. I actually kind of like it. I prefer it over Catholicism. I really do believe the way that they think about Catholics. I've been around other Catholics. I really don't like being around them, if that makes sense. But Christians more so believe in, you know, right is right. They believe in whatever they read, and they follow it suit with the way they live their lives, which I do like, more traditional values, uh, more ethics, But that's all I'm gonna say about that.
When it comes down to it, I think overall, it's just one of those things of like you just don't see that in America. You don't see states being ran by extremist Christians. You don't see them taking over whole entire states, right? I mean, it's just one of those things. Is like,
Well, that's where checks and balances comes in, you know, and
yeah,
you know, like if you're more religious, that's more of a Republican view.
yeah,
You know, like
yeah.
you get voted as a Republican if you're religious.
Yeah.
Just how it goes, you know. Whereas on the other side of the coin, Democrats are more like freedom of choice, in a sense, if that makes any sense, you know, like
They're atheists, quote unquote.
yeah.
But it just comes down to the point of like when we look at it. I mean, I don't see that we should kill each other in any view for any reason except for like
Well,
you're gonna hurt my
we c-
own, and it even says in the Bible is man shall protect himself and family, right? So right there and then, but there's also another quote in there that kind of goes against it. It's like, as a Christian, if you get hit in one cheek, you shall show and give the other cheek, right? But also in the same conference, he does say that
but
overall you shall protect yourself and your family, right? So, and I know like Omer, he believes the same thing where like he doesn't want to hurt nobody, but he will protect himself. He won't let anybody like do him wrong. He will make sure that he himself is protected, right? And he will protect his family the same way too. I don't see nothing wrong with that. What I do see wrong
and
is basically
in the Bible, all right, Matthew 5:44. Okay, you have heard it was said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven. He causes his sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. If you love those who love you, what reward will you get? Are not even the tax collectors doing that? And if you greet your own people, what are you doing more than others? Do you not even pagans do that? Be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect. But that's not the point. It's like, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Islam does not believe in that. That's Christianity. You know what I mean? Like, who comes out on top, good or evil? Christians are good. Islam, it's teetering in the area of evil, in my opinion, because of how extreme it's getting. You know, and I will say, what point are you proving by killing people? You're just proving us right, because in the end of the day, we're the good guys, in a sense. You know, we could backtrack this to history and it might be a different story, but as a present day, we try to stand up for what's right versus what's wrong. And I just don't see why everyone's in an uproar over what's going on in Somalia right now. I just don't. I don't. Like, it is what it is. You know, we're just trying to do what's right.
Mhm.
And that's what the bottom line is.
yeah. I mean, I feel the same way. I mean, You know, it's one of those things as we must protect our own. We must make sure that we protect our own. Obviously, we should not do no ill will towards another without no reason. You know, I feel like that's a big thing, but it's just we're in a very weird place in this country, and there's a lot of people that came over from the UK. This is what we're talking about earlier on the phone, and I didn't really get to the point of saying it, but a lot of them say like they left the UK because how much Islam took over. Because a lot of them were also Christian-based countries too, like Ireland and well, Ireland's more Catholic, but it's not anymore. And it's because Islam is the number one most growing religion in the world right now. It's growing at such fast speeds and it's crazy. I don't think everybody who's going to Islam is like 100% like extremists because I don't think they like believe everything it says, and I won't believe that either because you know there are good people in every religion and there are bad people in every religion too, you know, but it's just how long before does the American culture slip away and there is no American culture anymore? Because people can say what they want, they can say that this wasn't a Christian country. It definitely was. All of our founding fathers, except for 2 of them, were Christian believing, God fearing men. The states themselves had laws based on you being a Christian or a Catholic and believing that God is your one and true Savior and being a honest person. That was legit one of the laws in many of the states. The Constitution says in many areas, in God we trust. Our dollar bills say, in God we trust.
It's on all your currency.
It's crazy for people to sit here and say that. And I think they misunderstand what we mean by it. This is a Christian country. Yes, it's a Christian country, but we also believe in human rights. One of your rights is believing whatever you want to believe in, right?
It's your First Amendment.
But then don't come around trying to force a country that was built on Christian views, Christian laws, and try to change that. Because we're not going to, let's say, fucking Iraq and turning them all Christians by force. You don't see that happening because we respect.
Like I said earlier, you have freedom of speech.
Yep.
But you don't have freedom of consequences.
Yeah.
And that depends on what you do. You know, like you come here and you burn an American flag and stomp all over it and fucking bomb city streets and injure and kill people. What do you think we're going to do with you? We're not just going to pat you on the back and say, all right, you know, cool. Just go back home. No. Either one, you're getting sent back. So whoever it is in your official government can deal with you, or we will hold you captive to do whatever we want with you because you are not under the guise or jurisdiction of the U.S. government or U.S. laws, which is, in case, probably Guantanamo Bay because that doesn't fall under U.S. jurisdiction, so they can do whatever the fuck they want. And it is what it is. And we're going to fucking interrogate you and find out why the fuck you were here and get information and then go from there. You know, like, that's, like, this is a whole mess of problems, man. Like, and I fear this shit, like, and it shouldn't be like this, you know, like, I run in the summertime. I do the 15K here in the city. You know, I've been doing it. This would be my 3rd year in a row. You know what I mean? Like, the past 2 times I've been doing it, I'm like, damn, you know, there could be like an IED on the side of the road just waiting to pop off. Will it happen? Probably not. But is it a possibility? Yeah. Especially with rising tensions. Like, The Boston Marathon is a good example. That happened a long time ago, but it might happen again. You know, like these are just innocent people going about their day trying to do what they enjoy. And our way of life is being affected because of it, because like we're just a subset of people. Like we're Americans, and like they believe what they're doing is right by injuring us. And I just like, what the fuck, you know?
You see? Okay, look at this. However, numerous incidents of violence and terrorism have been committed by individuals and groups who identify as Christian and Christian beliefs to justify their actions. Let's look at the history here. Let's see if there's been any big ones recently. United States, abortion clinic violence. Okay, well we know about that. Um, Oklahoma City bombing. That's a pretty big one. 1995. I've heard about that. The Ku Klux Klan. Okay,
Yeah, but
the Ku Klux Klan was also a Democratic view too. That's different. Okay, now let's look at this. How many? This will tell a different story because. Oh.
Parasite.
What the fuck? Yo, chill out. I'll just put in the U.S. because that's where we are and that's what I care about. All right, so approximately 140 attacks and plots just between 1994 and 2025. Now, may I ask why the numbers are so different? It's just simple.
Yeah, and that just said September 11th. You know, a lot of the cab drivers down in New York City after the Twin Towers fell were chanting in the streets
Yeah.
that these buildings fell.
Yeah.
Like, and we allow that. Like, you know, and I'm not necessarily saying the war in the Middle East was right. However, were we wrong? You know, there's a lot of conspiracies behind all this shit. Whatever. But there's certain things about it I agree with and I disagree with. You know? I just don't think doing this shit is okay. Bombings and killing innocent people, and none of it's good.
Look at how many there are.
And global conflict. Brussels, Belgium, yeah, suicide bombers.
France, massacre in
Yeah,
Pakistan,
that country is being taken over now too. A lot of people are saying don't even
Iraq,
visit there.
United Kingdom.
A lot of people are saying don't visit France because it got bad. Like,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of fucking immigrants in the streets throwing shit and
Dirty as fuck now. Dirty as fuck, bro. Yeah.
Yep. It's not even a beautiful fucking country anymore. And they allowed this, you know, and in part to that is because of the open border policy they have. And that, like, now we're trying to thwart that here because we don't want that same shit that's happening there happening here. No, we don't want it. We love our cities. We love even though it's bad, our infrastructure. You know, we love our infrastructure. You know, like it is as grimy as it is and is not glamorous as it is. We still love the way of our life. You know, it's not a fucking third world country. We're not dealing with fucking, you know, blast holes in the ground every fucking 10 feet. We're not dealing with destroyed and decapitated buildings and cities, and people aren't living in absolute poverty. I mean, some people probably are, but
No, hold on. But there's a big difference. Our poverty compared to a third world poverty is completely different. And I don't think people understand that.
there is.
Our
There is a big
poverty is we get government funds, we get government help. Then you look at a
They get
third
nothing.
world. Yeah, they get nothing. They legit get nothing. Nothing at
They get
all.
nothing.
They die of
get
starvation after a while because they legit get nothing.
And they got to survive on bread.
Yep.
And that's it. Bread and barely any water. Like this goes back to religious values, like being grateful for what you have, and not seeking like more, it will come eventually, but that's if you're gracious enough to accept where you are. We have clean access to water. We can go in any grocery store we want and get whatever we want. Like it's not the case like that in some of these countries. They can't do that. They have no access to clean water. They might get dysentery, like
Yeah.
yeah.
It's completely different, dude. And we don't want to live like that. I mean, overall,
No.
and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's just crazy, right? It's one of those things of like, there's just too much hate in the world, bro. And it's spreading like crazy. And that's like legit, like what everything's being ran on now, bro. Like, you got people who want to actually stop racism. They bring up how they want to stop racism or how these people are being racist. And then they get told they're racist because they're pointing out somebody being racist. And then you got, bro, it's just there's too much hate.
I agree. You cut out. I can't hear you.
Oh, it's my favorite Kanye quote ever, bro. Favorite. You already know the one I'm talking
Kanye.
about. Bro, you already know the one I'm talking about. All right. Of course, the truth is crazy in a world that's all made of lies. Because he responded, they were like, "How do you feel about people calling you crazy?" And he was like, "Of course it sounds crazy telling the truth in a world full of lies. Of course it does. And of course you're gonna get hate for it. Because guess what?
Well, yeah. Yeah, because you're outnumbered, like
Yeah.
what there is a I gotta look it up now. You made me think.
It just gets down to the nitty gritty, bro. It's just, and like I've said to you, we live in a very important time of our life where this is not, no pun intended here, but this is the turning point of the USA. There's a reason why Charlie Kirk got killed. There's a reason why he got so big. There's a reason why, right? There's too many people.
No, listen, I'm more of a conspiracy theorist, okay? A couple weeks prior to him being killed,
I already know about Israel. I already know about Israel. I already
he
know.
was connecting the dots and getting too close. All right? I feel like that's why he got killed. However, purely a conspiracy theory. Could just be some kid, you know, angry at what he has to say on a mic. But I just don't think everything's surface level with this situation because of the type of person he was. He invited free speech. He wanted open conversation to challenge people in their worldviews, to try to educate them.
Yep.
He never really wanted to be negative towards any specific individual. I've watched him.
Mm-hmm. Same.
Not a terrible person. He just wants to challenge the facts. Like, the personal facts that some people have. Not the facts themselves, but like, all right, that's what you believe in. Here's the actual facts.
Yeah.
And this is what you should be believing in,
Yeah, of course. And it's just one of those things of like, I get what you mean about the whole. He went to Israel one last time before he died, like 6 months before the fact. He saw how evil the government was really being. He loved the people, and he even said that. He stands with the people, and there's kind of like a revolution happening in Israel right now that nobody's talking about. And he said that. And then every time he kind of went on something afterwards, he kind of said that they're trying to do what they call an ethnic cleansing, basically saying to commit mass genocide.
China did it. China did it for a while. They were feeding Islam. They were force feeding Islam's pork to actively convert them from their religion, to indoctrinate them into their religion. So, it's just a way to control them, to control the masses.
Yeah.
You want people to immigrate, migrate to your country. You're gonna have to. I'm not gonna say that's what you have to do, but if you want to be in a position of power when you're these particular countries, that's what they ultimately do. They ethnically cleanse to conform these people to their own beliefs. Because you got to break people out of their habit. I don't believe in that, but I understand it. Like, it's just it's not ethical to me. But if you want to remain and stay in power, that's what you do, I guess.
Yeah.
If you're them.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like he wasn't, I'm gonna say, changing his views on Israel itself, but he was changing his views on the government itself. Right? He wasn't changing his views on the Holy Land. He wasn't changing his views on the people that stay there or live there. He was changing his views on the government, seeing how evil and crazy they actually kind of are. You can say that about almost every government in this world, especially the U.S. Um, he was finally starting to see it, and Ben Shapiro, the day before he was supposed to do his show where he got killed, um, him and Ben Shapiro were doing a one-on-one talk, and he kind of said something to Ben like, "Why are we not talking about how Israel's kind of committing a genocide?" And he was like, should we believe everything that we see in the media? Should we not want to ask more questions? When do we start asking more questions about Israel? And Ben Shapiro just kind of gave him like a look like, why are you bringing that up? Like, you should not be saying this. You should not be saying this at all. And then the day after, miraculously, he dies. And just a month before the fact, no, 3 months before the fact, he denied $100 million from Israel. He would not take their money.
Yeah, most of the U.S. politicians that are currently in office have been exposed by taking Israel funds during their campaign runs to get them into the positions that they are currently in. And that tells you that the reason why we are swayed to sort of fund some of the shit that Israel demands of us, we jump as soon as as soon as they ask. Like, I just got something here. We just signed an $8.6 billion contract for the F-15 Israel program. And that just, like, why? Why? Fuck giving them the money. Like, we should be using the money for ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, we should be using the money to provide for American families, to be able to, like, make a better life for ourselves. Fuck this guy. Fuck his situation. When this like, I don't even care. Like, if they want to cause a mass genocide to the neighbors that they have, like, that's ultimately their problem. It'll settle itself out eventually. Like, and the people that they are oppressing have been seen to be resilient people, you know, and want to actively push back on Israel's like beliefs. So I feel like eventually the problem will equate itself out. You know, I don't think we needed to intervene to give them more fucking firepower and more munitions to be able to oppress these people even more. You know, like that's why when
Crazy
people
thing
ask me
is
at
like
like work, they're like, "Oh, Palestine or Israel." I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, you know, like, and I hate to say it that way, but like, we got our own respective
America
problems to worry
first.
about. Why are we worried about people who are fucking 6,000 miles away? Like, why does it matter that much? We have people who are starving here. We have people who don't have jobs here. We are people that are fucking struggling here. Like, we should be using that money to support ourselves. And instead, we're just giving it to these guys so they can fucking kill more people. Like, I don't agree with that at all. Like, yeah, sure, let's give them fucking $8.6 million for fucking F-15s. So they can fly right in and wipe them off the map. That'd be a great fucking idea. Because in my mind, that's not a great idea. Like, at all. That just allows Israel to push their own agenda. And eventually, this problem's going to get way bigger than we can fucking handle. I'm going to tell you that right now.
This is a belief, by the way. So they must not, but rather Judaism focuses on the coming of the Messiah's universal resurrection throughout. So not a cosmic and the end of days isn't about universal destruction, but the end of history suffering, ushering in an era of peace, divine, and healing. Somebody asked Ben Shapiro if, because he believes that if all Jews die, that the entire world would also die.
Yeah, fuck them.
I might
because
have
you
to.
know what? All right. Fuck them. Because you know what? These guys, this particular demographic of people, helped out the Romans crucify Jesus.
He has argued the extinction of Jewish people would represent the end of Western civilization as we know it. Okay, there you go. So basically, he's saying if all the Jewish people were to go to extinct, basically it'd be the end of Western civilization.
And you know what? I used to like Ben Shapiro, but I really don't like him that much anymore. Yeah, he states facts, but I feel like he's a little biased in the way he views a lot of things.
Oh no, of
like
course.
he's not
And
he's not realistic at all when he's talking about certain things. And like he's just a muttermouth, dude. Like,
and you want to know what
I
though?
listen.
And this is what I don't like about him. I like that he's a factual person. He tries to.
I do too.
Right?
But then he lets his religious beliefs get in the way.
But he also believes Israel over America. And what did I say I have a huge problem with? If you're going to be an American, be an American. I get it. It's your religion, right?
Wasn't he born here?
Yeah, he was born here. Yes.
Like, bro, you're American. Why? Like, what?
Yes, he believes in Israel first over America.
There's got to be something else going on here, bro. He's probably got to be getting a stipend behind the door somewhere. They got to be They got to be doing something to make him speak like this. I just, because at one point, like when I did like him, I was like, you know what? Yeah, sure, he might piss a couple people off, but he's spitting facts. Now, every time I watch him, Israel this, Israel that, Jew this, Jew that. And I'm like, dude, get the fuck out of here with that shit. I don't want to hear that. Like, you're an American, dude. Like I get standing up for what's right and giving out facts, cool. But I don't care, like everything you say now is based on your own beliefs. Fuck
no matter
here.
what.
Like,
no matter what. All right, well, we're going to end this one here. All right. Because it's 5 in the morning.
Almost 5 in the morning.
Not almost. It's over 5 in the morning. It's almost 5:20 in the morning.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it was a good talk. Our 3 topics went pretty good, and we even kind of went on the rant at the end. It was still about the topic, but it was not completely about the topic. But it was a good talk. I liked it. I feel like we hit every point pretty well, and we even gave it pretty good segments. It's about a 2-hour long video. You have anything else to say before we go?
Yeah, don't hate me, guys, please.
Look, I'm gonna say this just straight out. You're always gonna get hate, especially when you're talking about stuff like this.
I know,
It's just a
but
double-edged sword, Like it's a double-edged sword.
these are all topics to arise conversation, and that's all I want. Is like, you know what? If you feel like I said something wrong, please do voice that. If I may not know something, if I'm ignorant to it, please educate me because I am open to it. I'm not against it at all. I constantly want to learn, and that's really all it comes down to. But that's about it.
Alright. And I'll go ahead and back that. We're not looking to have hate here. We are looking to have conversations. And I will still say this to the end. I don't hate Islamic people. I love my
Neither
friends
do
that
I.
have. I'm not saying you do at all. It's just one of those things I really have to let people know. It's like we're not hating on them. We are hating on the extremist of the group. Okay? We're not hating on anybody that's just trying to believe in a religion and live life. That's not what we're trying to do. It's about the extremists that are pushing it with violence, right? Also, we're here to talk. We're here to have conversation. No reason to insult if you can't prove you're right or prove your side of the story. Just makes you look like an idiot. But I'll say that to the end. Just because you can yell doesn't make you right. But besides that, I want to say thank you for watching. If you do watch to the end, I know it's going to be a long one. And tune in for the next one, man. These are all going to get clipped on TikTok and everything, and we'll get a lot of talks on there, good and bad. I already know it. I can't wait to see what they say about Tristan.
I can't wait either.
Because they kind of were rough to me my first couple, but fuck those guys. They only say what they say because they can't prove their side, and they don't have 2 brain cells to speak with. But yeah. But all right, we're going to end it here. I do want to say thank you guys. You have a good night, and have a happy holidays. Yeah.